Vicious ritualistic activities which are offered in Vedas as fruitive activity karma kanda. 9. To instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. 10. To not have a complete faith in chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachment even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to achieve the desired success of Krishna Prema. Once again, I thank everyone for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call today. Before we move on to Srimad Bhagavatam class, may I know who all joined this morning?
हरे कृष्ण विनीता गंधर्विका माता जी दंडवत प्रणाम शिला प्रभुपाद की जय गुरु महाराज की जय प्रीतिदासी फ्रॉम शार्लोट हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna Preeti Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Mataji, for joining every day, giving your sweet association. Welcome to the call.
हरे कृष्ण
हरे कृष्णा माता जी दंडवत प्रणाम शिला प्रभुपाद की जय गुरु महाराज की जय दिस इज रविंदास दास फ्रॉम शिकागो हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna Arvindaksha Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for joining and giving your association every single day. Welcome to the call.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga and all the assembled devotees. This is Yashmati Priya Devidasi from Cincinnati.
Hare Krishna Yashumati Priya Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Mataji, for joining early morning, mid morning, giving your sweet association and chanting so beautifully. Welcome to the call. Is there anybody who would like to introduce themselves? Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Vanta Gandharva Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. This is Radha Pyari Devidasi from Baltimore.
Hare Krishna Radha Pyari Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining every day, giving your association. Welcome to the call.
Hare Krishna, Vanta Gandharva Mataji, all glories Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharajas. My humble obeisances to you and all the devotees. This is Krishna Kumari Devidasi from Darling. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Krishna Kumari Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Mataji, for joining every single day, giving your association. Welcome to the call.
Hare Krishna Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances to all the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. This is Sundarangi Radha Devidasi from India. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Sundarangi Radha Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Mataji, for joining and giving your association every single day, and all glories to your sweet services. Welcome to the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Is there anybody who would like to introduce themselves? Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji and all devotees. My sincere homage to all of you. I'm Sudhakar joining from Saudi Arabia.
Hare Krishna Sudhakar Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji, for joining, and all glories to your services. Please continue joining us, Prabhuji, every day. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Is there anybody who would like to introduce themselves? Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all the assembled devotees. This is Indulekha Karna Devidasi from Khan.
Hare Krishna Indulekha Karuna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Mataji, for joining every day, giving your association, and all glories to your wonderful services to the group. Welcome to the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to Bhakti Sangha conference call. Today, we are very fortunate to have His Grace Gaur Chandra Prabhu to enlighten us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, 8th canto, 2nd chapter, 20 to 22 verses. We are covering a couple of verses today. Before I hand over the call to you, Prabhuji, we would like to introduce you to the group. I request Sudhakar Prabhuji to take over from here and give an introduction about the speaker. Prabhuji, are you ready? Sudhakar Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. His Grace Gaur Chandra Das Prabhuji is a disciple of His Highness Radhana Swamiji and got connected to the ISKCON in 1993 at Chapati, Mumbai. He is also a gold medalist in electronics engineering from Mumbai University and besides, he holds an MBA degree as well. Currently, Prabhuji is based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and Prabhuji has been involved in the congregational preaching as well as a spiritual counselor for many decades now. An ISKCON certified teacher, Prabhuji loves to teach Shastra, especially the Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Chaitanya Charitamrita. He is a certified Bhakti Shastri teacher. Prabhuji has additionally served earlier in various capacities such as a Temple Presidential Council member, Chairman of the Spiritual Counselor Board, and Head of the Vaishnava Training Academy in Kuala Lumpur. As an IT consultant by profession, Prabhuji has served many multinational corporations also in a career of around 28 years. Prabhuji is married to his great Chandrika Devi Dasi Mataji and stays in Kuala Lumpur with his two sons, Shyam and Ram. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Sudhakar Prabhuji, thank you for that introduction. Hare Krishna, Gaur Chandra Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to your wonderful services to ISKCON Prabhuji. We are very fortunate to hear from you this morning, Srimad Bhagavatam. I now hand over the call to you, Prabhuji. Please take over. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu, and thank you, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji. I'm very honored. I've been invited to take all of your association in the form of discussion of Srimad Bhagavat. It's indeed very wonderful to see groups like this. Yesterday, I had a physical meeting with some devotees. We are also trying to do similar activities for the service to the community. So very happy to be connected to this wonderful group. Thank you. Yeah, so we'll start with Jai Radha Madhav. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijan Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijan Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Shri Radha Madhav Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrinde Tai Gaur Sanat Premanandi Hari Hari Bo Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So today we are reading from Canto 8 of the Srimad Bhagavat, Chapter 2, verses 20 to 22. So, yes, thank you so much, Mataji. So I do not know what is the protocol in terms of this particular group, but the way I intend to do is I will read the verse and then I will read the translation. Unless you want otherwise, let me know. So we have 3 verses. I will recite the first verse and then we will go through the translation of the 3 verses and then we will proceed with the discussions. So verse 20, तत्रैकदा तद्गिरिकाननाश्रयः करेणुभिर्वारण युथपश्चरन् सकण्टकं कीचकवेणुवेत्रवत् विशालगुल्मं प्ररुजन् वनस्पतिन्. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Padaki Jai. The leader of the elephants who lived in the forest of the mountain Trikuta once wandered towards the lake with his female elephants. He broke many plants, creepers, thickets, and trees, not caring for their piercing thorns. Verse 21, translation. Simply by catching scent of that elephant, all the other elephants, the tigers and other ferocious animals such as lions, rhinoceroses, great serpents and black and white sarabas fled in fear. The chamari deer also fled. Verse 22. By the mercy of this elephant, animals like foxes, wolves, buffaloes, bears, boars, gopuchas, porcupines, monkeys, rabbits, the other deer, and many other small animals loitered elsewhere in the forest. They were not afraid of him. Purport, we have a one-line purport to these three verses. So read that. Purport by His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. All the animals were practically controlled by this elephant. Yet, although they could move without fear, because of respect, they did not stand before him. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Om Ajnanatmirandhasya Jnananjanachhalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kada Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parjana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Parishthaya Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisheshwadi Paschatya Deshtani Gam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhete Girim Yat Kripata Mahamande Shri Gurum Deen Taranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om. So once again, thank you so much. I remember the very first class of Srimad Bhagavatam that I gave. That was like around 30 years ago. Almost 30 years ago, slightly less than that. Was a verse without any purport. So today we have three verses without purport. The last one with one line. Of course, first time, first ever class was kind of an interesting challenge. But it just reminded me of those days. Anyway, so we are discussing the 8th canto, chapter 2, verses 20 to 22. So I want to give a little bit of context and background of where we are in the Bhagavad and what we are discussing and why. So the 8th canto, there are 10 topics in the Srimad Bhagavat, and the 8th canto is specifically focused on the topic known as Manvantaras. In fact, in the earlier cantos of the Srimad Bhagavat, there has been extensive discussion on the Swayambhuva Manvantara, the first Manvantara. Correct? The day of Brahma is divided into 14 Manvantaras, the first being Swayambhuva. And we are currently in the 7th, which is the Vaivasvata Manvantara. So quite a bit of discussion of the Swayambhuva Manvantara has happened. And Shukadev Goswami is very keen that, Parikshit Maharaj is very keen and he's asking Shukadev Goswami, please tell me kathas from the other Manvantaras also. Tell me what happened. He's very keen to hear. And the Bhagavat, right from the beginning to the end, is replete with these kind of very wonderful curiosities and queries which come from the lips of these great souls. Whether it is Parikshit Maharaj, whether it is the sages of Naimisharanya headed by Suta Goswami. That is how the churning of Harikatha is continuously coming. Rivers of nectar are able to flow because of this wonderful question. So we are so very grateful to these great souls for this beautiful churning which has made it possible for us to taste this nectar. There's a very beautiful verse. Vayam tu na vitrupyama uttama shloka vikrame yat shranavatam rasad jnanam swadu swadu pade pade. Just like the questions are being congratulated by the speakers to the audience is saying, please go on, tell me more. I will ask you more questions. We are not satisfied. So you all are such a wonderful example. Every day you are getting together and hearing Bhagavad Katha. This is so commendable. This is so extraordinary in Kali Yuga. So sincere appreciation and of this very wonderful quality. Vayam tu na vitrupyama uttama shloka vikrame yat shrunavatam rasadnyanam swadu swadu. Very tasty, very tasteful. Go on, more. And if he feels that it's not enough, one more question. So in this way, this beautiful katha is going on. And at this particular point, at the beginning of the 8th canto, the question is being asked by Parikshit Maharaj that, can you please also elaborate about the other Manvantaras? You have been so much focused on the first. There must have been so many wonderful things happened. Second Manvantara, third Manvantara, fourth Manvantara, and so on. Please. I want to know. So this canto begins with a brief description of what is a Manvantara, what are the structure of a Manvantara, what are the principal personalities which govern each Manvantara, and then it is replete with different pastimes across different Manvantaras. So you'll find a lot of sweet, different pastimes, which in one sense may seem unrelated, but they are picked up as different pastimes. Some of these are of the Manvantara incarnations. So this canto actually begins with, and we want to just have that context before we go into the katha proper of what we are discussing today. This canto begins with Shukadev Goswami explaining to Parikshit Maharaj that in each Manvantara, a period of Manu, there are 6 categories of personalities who manage the administration of the universe. I think all of you must be aware, a Manvantara is 71 Chaturyugas, each Chaturyuga being a combination of Satya, Treta, Dwapara, Kali. 71 such cycles. Into 14 is one day of Brahma. So in each Manvantara, there are 6 categories of personalities who manage the administration of the universe. So each Manvantara has a Manu who's in charge, the sons of Manu, the second category, the Devatas. Every Manvantara, Devatas change. The 7 sages, the Sapta Rishi, Every Manvantara, the Saptarishis also change. Indra. Now, Indra is a post, not the name of an individual. Indra also changes every Manvantara. The current Manvantara, the Indra's name is Purandar. And in different Manvantaras, there are different names, and those names are listed in the first chapter. And then the sixth category is the Manvantara Avatar. This is also important concept for us to understand. That every Manvantara also has one incarnation of the Lord which specifically assists these other five categories to make sure the administration of the universal affairs is taken care of well. And that incarnation is known as Manvantara Avatar. And as that avatar in different Manvantaras, the Lord takes his appearance through different parents and takes on different names and also has performed different pastimes. In Sanatan Shiksha, when Lord Chaitanya explained the various kinds of incarnations to Sanatan Goswami, he briefly summarized all the kinds of incarnation into 6. Purusha Avatar, Guna Avatar, Yuga Avatar, Leela Avatar, Shaktiavesh Avatar, and Manvantara Avatar. We do not have time to go through all the categories. If you want to familiarize yourself, if you're not familiar, then please refer to teachings of Lord Chaitanya or directly to Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, Chaitanya Shiksha. So one of the categories, Manvantara Avatar. So these 6, and literally in the first chapter of the 8th canto, across the various Manvantaras, especially for the first 4 Manvantaras, who is the Manu? The principal children of that Manu. Who are the Devatas? Who are the 7 sages? Indra. Actually, not all of them are mentioned, but some of them are mentioned. Especially Indra is mentioned, the Manu is mentioned, and the Manvantara Avatar is mentioned. Elsewhere in other Puranas, the detailed list is given. So very interesting Manvantara avatars. I'll just give an example. And this has been discussed earlier. Sometimes it's a bit difficult to grasp some of these points as we go through 1 or 2 verses every day. Sometimes lose track of the flow. And that's why I'm just trying to summarize what is the topic being discussed. So one example. So in the Chakshusha Manvantara is the Manvantara just previous to this Manvantara. The Manvantara avatar was Lord Ajita. Who's this Ajita? During the Chakshusha Manvantara, when the pastime of the Samudra Manthan, churning of the ocean of milk happened, Lord Ajita came and assisted to balance the mountain, Mandara, which was being churned by Vasuki. Churning. So he appeared at that time. In the Swayambhuva Manvantar, the Lord appeared as the son of Kashyap, as the brother of Kapila Muni, by the name of Yajna. And he's the one who saved Swayambhuva Manu from the attack of the demons. That is also discussed in the first chapter. So like that, different incarnations. In the current Manvantara, who is the Manvantara avatar? Anyone knows? Anyone knows who's the Manvantara avatar in the current Manvantara?
Vaman.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Correct. Lord Vaman Dev is the Manvantara avatar, the current Manvantara. So there are these beautiful avatars. So when the mention in the 4th Manvantar, the mention came by Shukadev Goswami that the 4th Manvantar is known as the Tamasa Manvantara, because Tamas is the Manu in charge of this Manvantara. And in this Manvantara, the Lord comes in the form of Lord Hari as the Manvantara avatar, and he appears as the son of Harimedha and Harini. And he mentions that this Hari, this Manvantara avatar, is the one who saved the crocodile Gajendra. Is that Gajendra Moksha pastime? And as soon as this was mentioned, Shukadev Goswami became so eager. He immediately asked, "Oh, please tell me more about this beautiful pastime. Please tell me how Lord Hari saved Gajendra from that crocodile. I want to hear it in detail." And that is how, in the second chapter, the pastime of Gajendra begins. This pastime is very, very sweet, very, very beautiful. There are many lessons, of course. I am sure you will all be discussing every few days. Every day on different verses. So I'm not going to elaborate on the pastime itself, but I'm going to focus on what the three verses, what is the message in the three verses, and why these three verses. These three verses do not discuss any specific philosophy explicitly, but they are placed here in a descriptive manner for a purpose. In fact, all the way from the beginning of this chapter up to verse 22, and after that only the story quite begins. The plot begins. Now, many of us have grown up watching movies. I know as devotees, most of us do not watch mundane movies so much so far, but typically, in a movie, especially movies which are character based, where the story revolves around a very strong character, a personality, a protagonist, or a hero, depending on what the story is. The first 5-10 minutes of the movie is spent on establishing the character of the protagonist, on describing the setting in which he is situated. The setting, the person, who is the protagonist, who is the hero, how powerful he is, how great he is, what skills he is full of, what kind of capabilities he has. So usually there will be some episode, some incident which they will show, which will bring out the character of the protagonist. So in a similar manner, and that is good storytelling. This good storytelling is not just something which the movies have come up with themselves. This is how it has been since time immemorial. And the Shastras in the storytelling of the Kathas of the Lord also adopt similar mechanisms at times. So the second chapter begins by describing the setting in which the story is. This historical Puranic episode, which happened long, long back. How long back? Not in this Manvantara. In the fourth Manvantara, really long ago. This was not just in a previous Yuga, this was 3 Manvantaras ago, the Tamasa Manvantara, where the Lord appeared as Lord Hari. That's why the Puranas describe pastimes across Manvantaras, sometimes even across Kalpas. That's why sometimes the same pastime we see is slightly differently described across different scriptures, because sometimes the same pastimes is also described across Manvantaras, across Yugas of the same incarnation of the Lord, and sometimes even across Kalpas. Kalpa Bheda. Anyway, so the setting of this pastime, very, very beautiful scenic place. Trikuta Mountains. Trikuta means 3 peaks. A peak of iron, a peak of silver, a peak of gold. A very, very beautiful heavenly setting. 10,000 yojanas high, 80,000 miles, this mountain. A very beautiful setting, extraordinarily beautiful, all kinds of beautiful trees full of all kinds of beautiful flowers and fruits that one can imagine. The most beautiful birds that one can imagine. All kinds of wildlife that one can imagine. Not only that, this Trikuta mountain is situated in the Milk Ocean. And the waves of the Milk Ocean, as they come across the sand, the effect of those waves along with the sunshine produces emeralds. The banks of this particular tract of land is strewn with emeralds which are produced. So extraordinary. In Vedic times, when opulence was described in terms of natural resources. This is the real opulence. We have fresh water, we have beautiful trees, animals, fruits, flowers, gems, jewels, gold. This is wealth. And as this beautiful setting is described, then comes in the introduction of the main character, the protagonist, the hero of this particular pastime, Gajendra. Who's this Gajendra? Gajendra is the king of the elephants. So many animals were there in that forest. There were also tigers and lions. But this elephant was the leader. He was literally the king of all the animals in that forest. All the animals, as we discussed in these verses, were bowing down to him. Not literally, but they showed their respect by giving him way when he would come. And what is the entry of Gajendra into the story? The entry of Gajendra is huge, powerful elephant walking through the forest, trampling over trees and bushes and grass and walking over thorns undisturbed, crushing everything in his way, showing his extraordinary power. Very powerful, very majestic. But not just that, surrounded by many beautiful female elephants. Going in an entourage, the king surrounded by his beautiful consorts, also his children, baby elephants, all walking towards very beautiful lake in that Trikuta valley, where he wanted to go and sport in the water with his consorts and his family. Very rich, powerful person. This scene, if you can imagine, is the setting of this personality in his particular context. It's like that example of that extremely successful, accomplished hero who has achieved the quintessence of material life. What is considered the quintessence of material life? Great success, great wealth, great power. And to top it up, not just power, but what all conditioned souls hanker. Association of beautiful members of the opposite sex. Gajendra had it all. And the verses are describing how evidently everybody could see what kind of an aristocratic, materialistic enjoyment he had. And where was he headed to? He was headed with that entourage that anyone could be envious of. He was headed into this crystal clear water lake as everyone was making way for him, all the animals from a distance, appreciating him. He was a loving, benevolent king. He wasn't feared, but he was respected. Chandra is here, going to sport in the water. So this is the idea of success. Man is wealthy, beautiful, powerful, has control and dominion around him, surrounded by beautiful ladies. And the epitome of enjoyment is when such a powerful, successful man is in his swimming pool, surrounded by all these beautiful ladies, and he's having a good time. That is the picture perfect imagination of materialistic people. This is what enjoyment is. And we are not talking about this kind of an enjoyment on this earth. We are talking about enjoyment in the setting of the Trikuta mountain, heavenly regions. What kind of enjoyment? So the verses that we are discussing, verses 20, 21, 22 of the second chapter, are basically creating this imagery and explaining through this imagery this persona of Gajendra. Now, some of us may wonder why this imagery and why this kind of an explanation is actually essential. So there are many reasons why the Bhagavatam explains in this way, and we will consider different aspects and try to analyze them and draw some insights from them, since there is not much purport. So one thing is, there's an interesting point mentioned in the Bhagavad. I somehow unfortunately couldn't find the right verse, but I will try to convey the idea. Bhagavad, and especially the Puranas, not just the Bhagavatam, but generally Puranas and scriptures in general, when they want to convey a point, when they want to convey a lesson to us, they'll usually take the example and story. Of course, these are all historical stories of a very, very prominent, powerful person, especially a king. Stories, when they are about kings and powerful, successful people, as soon as that story is mentioned, everyone becomes very eager to hear. Oh, what happened? What happened? Huh? Or in this world of successful, very successful industrialists, very successful Bollywood stars, people are nowadays so eager to hear even the smallest and the most trivial things about them, and they're so excited. So the scriptures mention this is a deliberate ploy to attract the attention of the conditioned soul so that they become curious to hear, and in that way, through that pastime, they are able to learn wonderful lessons. So, of course, Gajendra, the king of the elephants, definitely falls into that category. And of course, it's a very novel story, because generally there are so many stories where there is a king who's either a human or a devata. Here, we are talking about a king who's an elephant. What kind of a story is this? So, it immediately grabs the attention. And this is one of the beauty of this particular pastime, the Gajendra Mokshana pastime, which actually emphasizes with respect to bhakti that while other processes of spiritual advancement, especially karma, jnana, yoga, require qualification, bhakti, being the essential nature of the soul, has no pre-qualifications of material kind at all. Anyone and everyone can practice devotional service because that is the eternal nature of the soul. No entry barrier. What to speak of material qualification in the human form of life? There is no barrier even in terms of an animal body. Can you imagine? Gajendra. Of course, Gajendra has a very beautiful pastime of how he got trapped into this body. We'll not go into that now. I'm sure it will be covered in the later part as other speakers progress through the katha. But the amazing thing is, even as an elephant, he achieved perfection. He was able to attract the mercy of the Lord. So that is, of course, one of the very beautiful lessons which comes out from this pastime. So coming back to the original discussion we were having. So one is scriptures pick up these stories. Amongst the millions of similar examples, so that they are most attractive for us and they are most instructive for us. Both things are very, very important. And through this particular pastime, and especially through these verses where this context setting of this quintessence of material attainment is concerned, the Bhagavatam is trying to emphasize the main predicament of this material world. I'm sure you are all familiar with the broad story. You are all, devotees of long-term practice. So what is the main lesson? The main lesson of this pastime is the predicament of the material world, that despite unlimited opulences, unlimited success, no matter how successful, able, powerful a person is in this material world, padam padam yat vipadam, things can go terribly wrong in one moment. And so wrong that one wrong, there are 100 things right in life, that one wrong can make life so miserable that the other 99 good things in life will be of no value. I was just reading a WhatsApp forward. I don't know whether it's true or not. It quoted a story about Rockefeller, who was so rich and so successful. But then later in life, he came across some medical condition which made him so miserable that despite all his success and all his wealth, he was extremely, extremely miserable. There's also one beautiful story. When I came in my early days to ISKCON, I heard from the lips of His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj. He gives a very nice example. He says at one time, long back, it's a true story. In the USA, there was one person, one young man, who was considered the epitome of good health. Epitome of good health. What is the definition of epitome of good health? When all his medical tests were done, it is said he had the most perfect parameters. What does that mean? Blood pressure exact 120/80. Blood sugar exactly at the best possible level, which is considered optimal. BMI optimal. Whatever parameters. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know the parameters. Practically everything that can be measured in the human body. And he would go around, Maharaj would say, would go around from place to place giving talks on good health. You say, oh, I do this, I eat this, I exercise like this, and I am the example of perfect health. Perhaps he became a little proud. And then something interesting happened. A young person, one day he was on his way to go to deliver such a talk. And he was walking down the pavement on the way to give one of his seminars on how to be extremely healthy. He said, he slipped. I don't know whether it was some oil or grease which was on the pavement or some banana skin he spilled. Sorry, he slipped, he fell, and he directly hit his head on the side of the pavement and instantly died. One moment. One moment before, he was the epitome of good health. Everybody expected, all those who were attending his classes, expecting who can have a longer and healthier life than him. This is success. This is the greatest asset. But just look at the cruel joke of material nature. In one moment, the healthiest person on the planet was dead. A young man. Would you have expected that today is the last day of my life? That is why this material world is said to be danger at every step. Nobody knows when what can go wrong. And there are many, many stories like this. We don't have so much time to discuss. But I hope you get the idea. And a similar such success story is being discussed here in this particular pastime of Gajendra Moksha. Of this Gajendra, so powerful, so accomplished. He ticked every box on the checklist of success. Control, power, wealth, subjects who are respectful to him, many beautiful consorts, many good children, and family who loved him. All these things together, how many people can actually achieve? But life was going to suddenly get very, very difficult for Gajendra. And that is what this pastime is about. That is the predicament of the material world. That things can go wrong at any moment, and hence, because we are talking Bhagavat, and hence the ultimate shelter for everyone at all time and all places in all circumstances is the Lord himself. There's no other shelter other than the Lord. Srila Prabhupada so often he says, the fallible soldiers. That's the Bhagavatam's message. Fallible. Don't take shelter of the fallible soldiers. The family, the wife, the parents, your wealth, your home, your connections. One moment to the force of material nature. Everything can go totally awry beyond your wildest imagination. And that is why, especially for those who are sadhakas on the spiritual path, which is all of us, these kind of pastimes shake us up. They shake us up. They shake us up and say, hey, even though you may have some material attainments, that is not the shelter that we should be taking. There's a very beautiful verse in the Bhagavad Gita where Krishna, in a very simple way, explains the problem of too much material attainment. The world is hankering after ticking all the check boxes of material success. But what does the Gita say? Lord Krishna says, Bhogaishwarya prasaktanam taya aparita chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadhau na vidhiyate. Those who are attached too much to bhoga and aishwarya, opulence and material enjoyment, and whose intelligence has been taken away, which means they're always absorbed in plan making of material enjoyment and wealth, and consciousness is always absorbed. Taya aparita chetasam. Vyavasayatmika buddhi samadhavana buddhi. For them to fix their mind on Krishna consciousness, anyways, to focus the mind on Krishna consciousness is not easy. Because even for the poor man who's a conditioned soul, life has so many distractions. What to speak of those who are very opulent and successful? Their intelligence becomes many branched. Bahushakha hyanantascha buddhayo hi avyavasayinam. Resolute intelligence is not possible for those whose minds are attached to opulence and very difficult. The Bhagavatam also has a very wonderful verse which hints towards a similar point. This is in the 8th chapter of the first canto, Prayers of Queen Kunti. Very beautiful verse, very powerful verse. I love this verse and I'm sure many of you love this verse. 1:8:26. Janmaishwarya Shruta Shribi Edamanam Madappuman Naiva Arhati Abhidatum Vai Vamakinchana Gocharam. So beautiful. Mother Kunti is telling the Lord, O Lord, those who are maddened or intoxicated by what? Intoxicated by Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, and Shri. Any one of them also is enough to intoxicate a person. But if one has great Janma, aristocratic birth, Shruta, great learning, PhD, great scholar, learned, studied in Harvard, Stanford, Shri, very beautiful. Huh? So, aristocratic birth, wealth, learning, and beauty. Edamanam madhapuman, for one who's progressing himself in material life like this through these 4 mechanisms. For them to call out to the Lord helplessly is so difficult, O Lord. Swam akinchana gocharam. Oh Lord, you are easily approached by those who are materially exhausted. Materially exhausted doesn't mean poor. Materially exhausted means those who do not put their hope and faith or take shelter in material opulence as the means of their real success in life. Oh my Lord, your Lordship can be easily approached, but only by those who are materially exhausted. Very, very beautiful verse. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada very brings out many poignant points, and I want to mention a few because they are very relevant to the pastime of Gajendra Moksha. So those who are having this kind of material opulences, great wealth, great education, attractive personal beauty, who consider themselves very advanced in material civilization, the result of this, Srila Prabhupada says, is that they become artificially puffed up. And they become intoxicated by these kind of possessions, attainments, opulence. And what happens when they become puffed up? What happens when they become intoxicated? Huh? The main disadvantage, and this is especially relevant for us. Sorry, I think somebody is. Sorry, I had to mute the devotee. Somebody's mic. So the main challenge when one is materially puffed up is that one is incapable of uttering the Lord's name feelingly. We are all sadhakas. We want to chant the holy name. It is Prabhupada's instructions to us, it is the Acharya's instruction to us, it is the verdict of Gita and Bhagavat that we should continuously chant the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada says that the Shastras say, even once if somebody can chant, Oh Govinda, Oh Krishna, then the sinner can get rid of so many sins that he cannot even commit. That is the power in one name, one utterance of the name. And Prabhupada warns, this is not exaggeration. This is the potent power of the holy name. The holy name has this power, Srila Prabhupada says, but this doesn't happen for everyone. There is a quality to the chanting of the holy name. It depends on the quality of the feeling with which the holy name is uttered. One who utters the holy name in great material satisfaction, thinking oneself to be great and accomplished, he will not be able to get the full benefit. He'll be purified a little bit, but he still has a long way to go. He has to chant for a long time to achieve substantial purification. But if a person is in his heart materially exhausted and he feelingly chants the name because he genuinely understands that the Lord is my only shelter, then very rapidly can make spiritual advancement. So the key point is that chasing material opulences can be detrimental for a sadhaka if he is not careful to not be puffed up. That's why having a lot of wealth is not always a blessing. It is actually a curse. I remember once as well as Radhanath Maharaj, he was speaking to me and he told me this very emphatically. He said, to have a lot of material opulence is actually a curse of the material energy. And I was like, oh, Maharaj is warning me. It's a curse of material energy. Very few people can get lot of material opulence and still have their head intact. He didn't say in those words, but still be level-headed. Still not be Madah Puma. So this Gajendra pastime is an example of a person who becomes intoxicated. He was not sinful. He was pious, but trapped in a material enjoyment concept. And that is why for those sincere devotees who are trapped in this kind of attachment to opulence and enjoyment, and that's why they are unable to feelingly take shelter of the Lord and call out His holy name. That's our objective. If we want to make serious spiritual advancement, we have to come to the point of calling out to the Lord helplessly. There's no other way. So what does the Lord do to such sadhakas? The Lord is the expert coach of spiritual life. What does He do? He will put such devotees into such situations that it will force the devotee to helplessly take shelter of Him. Oh, Krishna, I surrender. I take shelter of You. Please save me. Please help me. You are my only shelter. You are my only refuge. And that is what this pastime is also highlighting to all of us. And as this pastime unfolds, all these points and discussions will come. But since most of you are familiar with the pastime, you know how this unfolds. Gajendra is suddenly put into such difficulty, and all that he thought were his strengths and powers and abilities, nothing can help him. And he still struggles and struggles and struggles, hoping against hope that he will, by his own effort, fix his problem. By Krishna's divine arrangement, having mercy on him, Krishna has put him into such a situation that ultimately, after so much struggle, finally, because of his past devotional service of his past life, his remembrance comes forth, and he offers sincere, surrendered prayers to the Lord, which attracts Lord Hari to come down and save him. So that should be the lesson for sadhakas like us, that we do not find shelter in material attainment and material comfort. But even in good times, not just waiting for bad times, if in good times we are able to remain level-headed and take shelter of the Lord nicely, then we may not need this kind of drastic treatment, this kind of shock treatment that Gajendra and so many other devotees have gone through. So either we voluntarily surrender to the Lord, or the Lord, having mercy on us, seeing our attached condition, take us into realizing the futility and danger of material condition and force us to take shelter of it. That is his kindness. So that is our Lord, Lord Hari, Manvantara incarnation, who gave this beautiful mercy to Gajendra. And as this pastime unfolds, beautiful lessons will be drawn. Today's verses 8:20 to 8:22 are basically, to summarize, are setting the scenes, are explaining the setting and who this Gajendra is. This very powerful, successful leader of the elephants who had immense influence over his domain, enjoying with so many females. When we read all this, we feel, wow, what kind of a position. And another important message, like we discussed earlier for us, is if this is possible for an elephant, for an animal who's generally considered dumb, then why should it be difficult for us who are so fortunate to have gotten the human form of life? So with these few words, I will conclude my class. There hasn't been much in the purport. That's why I took the opportunity to present the theme and a brief intro to the canto and what it covers in this particular manner. I hope that I have been of some service to you. So as we are almost close to the end of the hour, I believe we can open the floor to some question and answers, if that is okay. So if anyone has any comments or any questions, then you can. Yeah. Is that okay, Sudhakar Prabhu?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, really, it was a very wonderful class. I think I will request our devotees to raise their hands for any questions or realizations on the Prabhuji's lecture.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very nice description of the Swargaloka, and very nice, people in US, especially in US, whenever they have vacation, they always go to see some beautiful places. So that's why I say Beautiful places, beautiful beaches, like South Carolina, they say. That's their logo. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Sham Gauri Mataji. Yeah. We do not have any problem with beauty. The problem comes, as we have all heard from Prabhupada and our senior devotees, the problem comes when we try to become the enjoyer of beauty. So when we maintain the consciousness that Krishna is the one who's manifesting his beauty to everything, then everything becomes sublime. So our solution is to not become poor or ugly or not successful. But we do not have to chase these things. If they come, the teaching is we graciously, gratefully accept Krishna's blessings and see how these are all Krishna's energies and how we can best engage them. Even beauty can be engaged in Krishna's service. Intelligence can be engaged. There is nothing that cannot be engaged other than envy. Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And these people are so much interested in creation of God, but they are not interested in God. Yes.
Exactly. And that's what Srila Prabhupada says is the Ravana mentality. They want the energy of God without God. That is the quintessence of materialistic life. Of course, even though Gajendra himself, was a, not a sinful or problematic character in that sense, like what Ravan was, but even being good, if one is attached to the mentality of enjoying material nature, then one sets up himself for a lot of suffering, even if one is pious. So that is a trap to be avoided by all sadhakas. Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, very
Thank you,
important.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
So our life also is more or less like a Gajendra ji, unless we are having that. But I'm not saying all of us. Most of the time, I think we will also get lost with this material opulences or the pride, and then we don't go to the shelter of the God.
Yes, Prabhu. I fully agree with you. To different extents, we are all, and you see, the trick of material nature is that one doesn't have to have the opulences, the kind that Gajendra had, to become proud. The trick of material nature is sometimes, as Srila Prabhupada says, even a beggar is proud of his penny. So that is the nature of, the key point is when we become proud. Some people become proud when they have something. Some people become proud even when they have very little. But it is that this pride which is the barrier between us and the Lord, because it doesn't allow us to connect to the Lord feelingly by helplessly uttering His holy name. And I think this is the story for all of us. Whether we are successful to the level of Gajendra or other powerful personalities or not, that at least that is how I see it, that this story is so instructive for all of us. And also instructive that if we don't surrender ourselves, Krishna will do the needful to make us surrender to Him. So, so either we do it the nice way or we do it the difficult way. The choice is up to us. Correct, Prabhu?
So, Prabhuji, you mean to say for those devotees, right? God will
Yes.
take that extra
Yes.
grace on them to forcibly
I'm talking about
come to the
sadhakas.
situation.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
So I remember, sorry, do I have a minute? Can I share something?
Yes.
Yeah. So I remember once when a devotee was asking Radhanath Maharaj, and he was saying that, very famous, he was asking a question saying, Maharaj, I'm having this problem, then after that I'm having this problem. Why Krishna is giving me problem after problem after problem? And Maharaj gave a very wonderful answer, and he said something to that effect. I don't remember the exact words, that I can see that there are more problems going to come your way. The devotee was pretty shocked. I don't remember the exact words. And the Maharaj clarified to say that because when the problem comes, you're not taking shelter, Krishna is upping the level of the challenge. Because he wants you to surrender, you're not. So he is adding more weight to your problem. But you're still not. He will add more. So in the lives of sadhakas, sometimes a huge heap of difficult situations can well be an indication from Krishna that please take shelter. Of course, taking shelter also doesn't mean that one doesn't do the needful to counteract the challenges, but it means internally to not be resentful, but always take shelter of Krishna and be dependent on him. And in that way, one can actually make progress. So Krishna is so kind. Actually, sometimes we feel, oh, Krishna is so making my life so difficult. I am trying to be his devotee and he's making my life so difficult. But when we hear the words of the Bhagavad and we listen to the wisdom shared by the great souls, we see that actually Krishna is being kind. If Lord Hari had allowed Gajendra to just continue with his good life with inverted comma, then he wouldn't have attained the destination that he achieved. Yes, Prabhu, back to you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for this enlightening class today. And actually, we are very grateful to have you, and also we look forward your forward association. I think if nobody has any other questions or doubts, with your permission, we can end the call, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, my humble obeisances to all the devotees, and thank you so much to all of you for giving this opportunity. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha
Krapa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo
Vaishnavyo Namo
Vaishnavebhyo
Namaha. Grantara
Jai ho.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Bhagavatam
jai.
ki jai, Srila
Ki
Prabhupada
jai.
ki.
Jai Srila Prabhupada
Thank you
ki.
so much, dear
Gaur
devotees.
Chandra
Very
Gurudev ki jai.
Chandra
Radhe
Prabhupada
Radhe.
ki jai.
Jai.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe
Radhe
Gaur
Radhe.
Ranga.
Radhe Radhe.